Jeff Greene, played by Jeff Garlin on Curb Your Enthusiasm, is a very enjoyable character and a fan favorite, so I wanted to take a look at him and see what it is that, makes him tick. What's he all about? So, Jeff is, of course, Larry's manager and best friend. I do believe that he is the most important person in Larry's life, and that includes Cheryl during the time that they were married. When Larry gets locked out of his car and has to spend time waiting in like a fast food line, it's not Cheryl who he goes and calls to help him out, it's Jeff. Jeff Garlin is the only actor who appears in every single episode of the show, other than Larry, of course. And another thing is that Jeff Garlin gets second billing in the end credits after Larry David, before Cheryl Hines. You watch most TV shows, and usually, unless it's like a show that's like not about their home life or family life, the main character's spouse is going to get billed right after the main actor. But with this show, with Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's Jeff, and that just further cements the idea that he is that important to Larry. Jeff kind of takes on a comedic sidekick role for Larry. He's very ride or die for him. He'll pretty much do anything that Larry wants him to do, help move those ridiculous, absurd, comedic plots forward. And that's not to say that him and Larry never argue or disagree, or they never challenges, or Larry or pushes back on anything that he says or does. But for the most part, he's willing to go and just go along with what Larry wants him to do. Jeff is not a very good person. He's a pretty bad dude. This mostly comes in two forms. One is kind of just all the ridiculous, possibly harmful things that he does for Larry. Things like trying to steal a golf club from a guy's coffin during his funeral, even though it is Larry's golf club. That's just not a thing that you need to be doing. And the other is the constant cheating on his wife, Susie. So what is it that makes Jeff act in this way? Well, I think it mainly comes down to the fact that Jeff is somebody who is very wealthy, very financially successful, has a lot of just power and, connections and kind of privilege in his life. He's not like he's a celebrity. He's not like a name that people recognize or a face that the average person, will recognize. But he has a lot of this power and connections in Hollywood. He has all these, rich celebrity friends and acquaintances and stuff like that. And what that does is it gives him this ego. And the ego, I think, does two things. One is it makes him think that he's like special and important, and that he kind of deserves to kind of do and have what he wants. He deserves to be married while also having all these younger, attractive women on the side. But what the ego also then does is it makes him think that he can get away with everything. And I think for the most part, he's kind of right in a sense, because like all the crazy stuff that he does with Larry, that never really has a huge negative impact on his career, doesn't stop him from being a success. It probably helps because Larry, probably makes him a lot of money. But then also when it comes to the relationship with Susie and the cheating, it doesn't really negatively impact that too much either, because early on, like, Susie knows that he's cheating, and, she knows throughout most of their marriage, that he's doing it regularly, consistently. And there's a couple times where they almost break up, almost throws him out, but they're still able to be together at the end of the show and have a certain contentment in their marriage. She is able to eventually just accept the fact that he cheats. She gets back at him a little by doing a little cheating herself, but, he's mostly able to kind of just get away with it, and it doesn't become a big problem.